Ooh, this woman is taking the Celpip exam, and she's having a hard time understanding viewpoints. Viewpoints. Do you understand viewpoints? This is very important for the Celpip exam and for just real life. In English, it's an important concept, so you need to know, but especially for the Celpip exam, because each part of the Celpip exam has something about viewpoints, right? Reading for viewpoints, listening for viewpoints, writing your viewpoints in task 2 in the response to a survey. I think that's task 2, or is it task 1? I can't remember. Okay, so when you have to respond to a survey, you are giving your opinion. What should the city do? Should the city build a new airport or a new train station? You have to give your opinion. And then also on the speaking part, there's a task where you have to give your opinion. Okay, so this is very important. So what is a viewpoint? Well, a viewpoint is just an opinion. Everybody has opinions. This woman has an opinion that people shouldn't eat meat. Okay, maybe she's a vegetarian. That woman loves meat. She loves eating steak and pork and chicken and fish, everything. Okay, so they have a difference in opinion. Okay, now what is your opinion? What's your opinion? Now, this question, I think, might seem odd to a lot of people. Now, for me, living here in Canada in a Western democracy, it's very common for people to have opinions. It's an accepted part of our culture that people have opinions. It's assumed that everybody will have an opinion. But if you ask a Japanese person, what's your opinion? It's very hard to get an answer from them, because in Japanese society, personal opinion doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is the opinion of society, right? So their opinion doesn't matter. If you ask them, what do you think? I don't care what your society thinks. What do you think? Well, this question doesn't even register in their minds. It doesn't have a place. They don't know what to do with it. Okay, so this is a common problem for ESL teachers who go teach English in like Japan or China. You know, they're always trying to stir up some debate, you know, where two sides or two groups of people take different sides and they debate something. Which is better, this or that? Well, ESL teachers have a problem in those countries because the students don't really have opinions. They're not very talkative. They don't share their opinions very easily. Okay, so maybe this idea of viewpoints is hard for you to understand. And that is understandable. If you're from a country like Japan, maybe you have a hard time understanding this idea of viewpoints. But here in Canada, it's expected that everybody has a viewpoint. And actually, we have a word for that. It's opinionated. Opinionated. Okay, that's a personality trait. If someone is opinionated, that means they have strong opinions about things. Maybe politics, you know, the things people should eat, lifestyle, those kind of things, okay? The person is very opinionated. That means they share their opinions, okay? Maybe people in Japan are opinionated, but they keep their opinions inside. Okay, so usually this word opinionated means that people say their opinions. If they think something, they say it. I don't like the color of your shirt. I don't like your shoes. Oh, that's a nice car. That's a, you know, you're always talking about your opinions. Okay, then the person is very opinionated. Like maybe they don't like our prime minister. I don't like Justin Trudeau. He's a bad guy. Okay, that person is very opinionated then, right? There are lots of opinionated people in Western society. So maybe that's a difference between your culture and Western culture. Okay, but it's important to realize that everything has a viewpoint. Okay, maybe not just the people, like maybe in Japan, people aren't very opinionated. Maybe they keep their opinions inside, but even countries have opinions. Okay, countries or companies or anything has an opinion. For example, Japan doesn't like immigration. Okay, Japan doesn't allow immigration. Do you want to become a citizen of Japan? Well, good luck. It's impossible. You're not going to become a citizen of Japan unless you already are a citizen of Japan. For me to become a citizen of Japan, that would be very, very challenging. Okay, probably for you too. But for Canada, Canada's completely different. Okay, Canada welcomes people, immigrants from all around the world, and it's pretty easy to get citizenship in Canada. I mean, it's not easy, but compared to Japan, it's easy, right? So, I mean, in Japan, I don't even think it's possible. If I would marry a Japanese girl, I'm not sure. Is it possible? If you're from Japan, let me know. If I marry a Japanese woman and live in Japan for like 50 years, could I become a citizen of Japan? I don't know. But I know that if I become a citizen of Japan, I have to give up my Canadian citizenship. By Canada, I have to give up my Canadian passport, and then I have to pledge my allegiance to Japan. Pledge my allegiance means I have to be loyal to Japan. Japan, at least I don't think they allow like two citizenships. I don't think so. Correct me down there in the comments if I'm wrong, okay? But countries have opinions, okay? Japan, I guess they've decided they don't really like immigration. They don't like the idea of immigration, whereas Canada generally welcomes immigrants. So it's just a difference in opinion, right? You know, I'm not saying Japan is bad or Canada's good. It's just a difference in opinion. Now, I want to ask you about news. Which news source do you listen to? Which news source do you listen to? Like BBC or CNN or Al Jazeera? Okay, look at all these different news companies. They all have a bias. A bias, that means a preference. Something, they want you to believe something. They want you to believe their opinion, their viewpoint. Okay, for example, BBC News wants you to believe that Russia wants to kill people in the UK using nerve agents. What's a nerve agent? Well, a nerve agent is some substance, I don't know if it's a gas or a liquid or something that basically kills people. You've probably seen it in the news recently. Okay, so BBC News has a very sort of a strong opinion that Putin and people in Russia are trying to kill UK citizens. Okay, whereas RT Russian News, they have a completely different opinion. Their opinion is that Putin is a nice guy and he doesn't want to kill people in the UK. Okay, so it's a very different opinion. Who's right and who's wrong? Well, I have no idea. That's why I like to listen to different news companies. I like to go online and look at these different organizations and see what they're saying, okay, and figure out what their bias is, what their bias. Okay, every company has a bias. For example, Fox News and CNN are completely opposite. They're completely opposite. Fox News is a conservative news company, and CNN is a liberal news company. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means Fox News will always say bad things about Obama, Clinton, Bernie Sanders, any of the left-wing or liberal politicians, okay? It never says any good things about those people, okay? And it says good things about Trump. Okay, it always says, good things about Trump and good things about Israel. Okay, that's a big thing. Israel, good or bad. CNN, on the other hand, they always say bad things about Trump. And I expect it. If you go on CNN and you watch some news or you read news on the website, you're always going to see bad things about Trump on CNN, and you're going to see good things about people like Obama, Clinton, those people. Why? Because they have a different bias. Okay, so this is very important to understand in life. I think it's important that you understand that news companies have a bias. A lot of people just believe everything they hear. They think Russia is poisoning UK citizens. I hate Russia. I hate Putin. I hate all of the... Okay, they're getting their news from one source. Okay, it's good to have a bit of variety, okay? Al Jazeera, right? Al Jazeera never says anything good about Israel. Al Jazeera hates Israel. Okay, I go on Al Jazeera quite often. I get Al Jazeera on my TV here. Sometimes I watch Al Jazeera documentaries. I really like Al Jazeera documentaries. I like their news, okay? But I know that they hate Israel, and they're never going to say anything good about Israel, okay? So it's important to understand what these media companies want you to believe. And it's important to understand that there are different viewpoints in the world, okay? A lot of people don't understand this, and I really want to help you understand it. So you need to look for clues in the text or clues in the listening. What does that person think? Okay, for example, Al Jazeera, they don't say, "We hate Israel." They don't say that. But if you look at the clues, you can tell that they do hate Israel. Okay, they're never going to say anything good about Israel. Okay, so you need to look at the clues. That's the thing. When you're on the Celpip exam, when you're reading or when you're listening, you need to try to find those clues and try to think about, what does that person believe? What is their viewpoint? Okay, now the more you know about the world, the easier it is to identify viewpoints. I think this is true. So the more you know about Canada, for example, I think that the Celpip exam will be easier for you because you will be able to already have some knowledge about what's going on. Okay, any knowledge is good knowledge. Okay, for example, take a look at this map of Canada, okay? Here are some provinces in the middle of Canada. There are 3 provinces: Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. These are called the Prairie Provinces. The Prairie Provinces, okay? Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Now, these provinces are the most conservative area in Canada. Conservative. People here have conservative values. A lot of people in these provinces are farmers. The word prairie means like flat land where you can grow crops like wheat, corn, oats. Do you like eating oats for breakfast? Maybe it comes from the prairies. I don't know. Okay, so there are very conservative people here. Now, the leader of Canada, what's the leader of Canada's name? Oh yeah, Justin Trudeau, right? Justin Trudeau is not a conservative. He is the leader of the Liberal Party. Okay, so do you think those people agree with Justin Trudeau? Do they like him or not? Well, most of the people in this area don't like Trudeau. They don't like Trudeau. They're always criticizing Trudeau. Oh, you have a bad policy on immigration. You have a bad policy on all these different things. I always hear bad things about Trudeau. Actually, I was listening to the radio this morning, And the guy on the radio was saying that Justin Trudeau has done a very bad job when it comes to immigration. Okay, now Canada has a bit of a problem with immigration right now because people are coming from the US into Canada illegally. They're just walking into Canada and they come here illegally because there's no wall, there's no fence here. So if you're in the US and you want to come to Canada, well, there's no wall. It's a lot of people in the US just coming in. Hi, Canada. I'm here. I'm a refugee. Then what does Canada do? Well, Canada is not sending them back. Canada has to deal with the problem, right? Now, in a lot of places in the world, it's easier to go to the US than it is to Canada. Did you know that? For example, there are a lot of African countries, I think, that can get a visa more easily to the USA than to Canada. So they come to the USA first from some country, and then they really want to go to Canada. So they just go to Canada. Okay, they just walk over the border. All right, so it's a bad system. It's a bad system then, right? If they can go to the USA first, and their secret plan is just to walk into Canada, when they would have been denied a visa to Canada before they came, right? So it's a bad system, and the people over here are criticizing Trudeau. They're saying he's done a bad job. Okay? That's their opinion. Now, another thing they don't like is that Justin Trudeau has legalized marijuana. Did you know that? On October 17th, 2018, this year, marijuana will be legal in Canada. Wow, that's big news. Do you like that? Do you hate that? What's your opinion? What's your opinion about the legalization of marijuana in Canada? Let me know down there. Okay, so this is the date, October 17th. We'll see if that happens. Nothing is certain until it happens. But that's what Justin Trudeau said. He said on October 17th, marijuana will be legal. Okay, so do you think these people are happy? These conservative farmers who think drugs are bad, immigration is bad. A lot of people, they don't like Trudeau because of these things. Okay, so there are some different opinions in Canada. Canada is a Western democracy. There are a lot of different opinions. Just because Trudeau says one thing doesn't mean all of Canada believes that. Okay, unfortunately, a lot of people are not as happy about immigration as Trudeau is. Trudeau always tweets nice things, right? Welcome to Canada. Come on in. Everybody's welcome. Right? Well, actually, a lot of people across Canada are maybe more similar to Japan, and they don't think immigration is a good idea. Okay, so any information is good information, right? Now, if you're doing the Celpip exam and you hear the words prairie, Trudeau, liberal, conservative, immigration, marijuana, now you sort of know that those places are a little bit more conservative, right? So now you can maybe predict what an answer will be if there's a question about, the prairie provinces and government, politics, stuff. I don't know. The more information you know, the better. Then you have a bit of a context, right? It's important to have some context so that you can try to figure things out. Okay, so information is always a good idea. Hey, you know what? I watched a documentary recently. It was a sad documentary about Syrian refugees in Germany. You know what's happening about this issue, right? A lot of Syrian people have gone to Germany and to other countries like Canada, okay, to escape the conflict that is happening over in their country. Okay, so in Germany right? A lot of Syrians went to Germany as refugees. And this documentary actually was about Syrian refugees in Germany who decided to go back to Syria. Back to Syria because their life was better in Syria than in Germany. Can you believe it? So they were interviewing several people in the documentary, and some of these people were saying, it's impossible for us to live in Germany. It's so hard. The German people don't accept us. We're not accepted in Germany. We came here thinking Germany would be a great place, a land of opportunity where we could work hard and achieve success. But the German people don't accept us. So we're going back to Syria. Wow, that's really sad. But it made me think. It made me think about this issue of viewpoints. If these people had done research on Germany, I think maybe they would have decided not to go to Germany to begin with, which would have been better. Because these people were saying it was like a 2-year waste of his life. One guy was saying, I wasted 2 years of my life trying to be in Germany, trying to achieve success in Germany, and now I can't do it. I can't do it, so I'm going back. Okay, so, they thought Germany would be a welcoming place because the leader of Germany, Angela Merkel, is sort of like Justin Trudeau, right? Welcome refugees, welcome immigrants, everybody's welcome in our country. We will help you. Well, really, these people found out that's not true. A lot of the German people, they didn't help them. They didn't help them. Okay, so if they had done a bit of research on Germany, they would have realized that Angela Merkel is not representative of the country as a whole. Sometimes there's different things on the ground. On the ground, it means in real life. Okay, just like here in Canada, Justin Trudeau has one opinion, but that's not the opinion of everybody there. Okay, so there are different viewpoints. Germans have one viewpoint, Syrians have another viewpoint. Actually, the guy in the documentary, one thing he said, the Germans give their girls freedom. Like if a girl goes to school, she has a lot of freedom. And this guy said, I don't want my daughter to have that kind of freedom that German girls have. So, it's just a difference in opinion. He didn't want his daughter to maybe, well, who knows, become a kind of like a German girl, right? He didn't want her to have that kind of freedom. So he thought it would be better to take his family back to Syria, which is understandable. Okay, it's just a different system, it's a different culture, it's a different opinion. So hey, I think this is really important. I hope you remember that there are different opinions. Okay, that's the most important thing to understand. When you take the Celpip test, okay, there are people who have different opinions, and you need to try to look for the clues to figure out who thinks what. Who thinks what? Hey, anyway, I want to know, where do you get your news from? Let me know down there in the comments. Is it BBC? Is it CBC from Canada here? Which news company do you like? And also, I want to ask you, I think it would be a good idea for you to listen to a news source that you don't like or that you don't agree with, maybe a bunch of different ones so you can get a balanced perspective and so that you can practice understanding viewpoints. Okay, and think about, that person has this view, that company has this view, that country has this view. Okay, start to think about the viewpoints. That way you can start to look for the clues and figure out what people think. Hey, anyway, that's my lesson for today. I hope that's helpful. Let me know where you get your news from down there in the comments, and I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.